Vladimir, thank Executive, but also thank you for leading this effort and bringing us all here today together. Our colleagues in government, our Director of Veterans Services, Josh Gascione, the veterans that are with us here and out there sitting around us today. And we want to thank you all for standing strong with our veterans today and leading this important conversation. Your advocacy, Congressman, means everything in order for us to understand the things that we have going on. Here in Westchester County, we are proud to be home to thousands of veterans. These men and women have served our country with courage, and we do everything we can to sacrifice more exposure, and now is not the time to pull the rug out from under them and for those people that are providing those services. Eliminating Veterans Affairs servicing programs on top of these cuts only adds to that damage. This program helps veterans navigate a system that can be overwhelming. As Congressman Ladner pointed out, our Veterans Service Agency here in Westchester County, led by Josh Gascione and his entire team, worked extremely hard to make sure those benefits that people are entitled to get to them. Taking it away sends the wrong message. The flag on our veterans' uniforms should stand for more than just symbolism. It should stand for action, for honor, and for care, and for a government that keeps its promises. That's why we're all so strongly standing here today, and we are so proud to stand with not just Congressman Latimer, but with all of our veterans from around Westchester and the state of New York and around this country, and making sure that we're standing up for veterans and their services and their policies. Thank you so much.
Thank you, County Executive Ken Jenkins. I'm going to call on the county legislators in just a few minutes, but I'd like to ask our state delegation members who are here today to join us as a group and share their thoughts. In Albany, the level of support for veterans goes beyond that which the county does, but it's predicated on the federal government doing its share. So I'm going to ask Senator Mayer, Senator Fernandez, and Assemblywoman Levenberg to come together as a group and share their thoughts.
Thank you, Congressman. And we're in the midst of finalizing the state budget. And every diminution of attention and dedication to our veterans will result in an added burden for New York State's Department of Veterans Services to make up. Well, we can't make it up. We can't make up what the federal government is responsible for and obligated to provide. We will do our best. But at the end of the day, these individuals here and those that we know across our county and our state deserve far better than a federal government that walks away from a commitment as important and as meaningful as service to our veterans. It's really shameful. Thank you to Congressman Latimer for calling us together and make sure we speak with a united voice. This cannot stand. Thank you.
Thank you. Good morning. I'm State Senator Natalia Fernandez, and standing in solidarity with this message. These cuts are reckless, they're harmful, and as Senator Mayer said, we do our best in Albany because we care about our veterans. We love our veterans, and it is a shame that this federal government is taking these steps to make it harder for our families and for our constituents. To take away resources, to take away help is not the American way, and this is something that is upsetting. It is upsetting, and it's making our jobs, yes, difficult, trying to find the dollars to replace, and when we shouldn't have to. So thank you, Congressman Latimer, for bringing us here together. This is affecting all of us every single day, and we need to continue to push back and demand that they restore these services.
I'm Assemblymember Dana Levenberg. I represent the 95th Assembly District, which includes the Montrose VA. And we know how important a resource that is and how many people utilize that for health services and for living and for so much more. And the people that work there, most of whom are veterans themselves, count on the relationships that they form with our veterans, and they count on making sure that they're there to help and to pay it forward in whatever way they can. We need to make sure that this administration that has been so haphazard, so slapdash in its cuts, does not continue to take apart our country and to do harm to our veterans who have worked so hard. Our government shows so much disrespect for all people, but especially at this time to show disrespect for veterans who stand up for our liberties, for our democracy, for our freedom is a disgrace. We need to push back on this, and we cannot let cuts to our veteran services happen. Thank you.
As I said, in a minute, we'll have a chance to hear from our county legislators and also White Plains City officials who are here. But it's important to hear the voice of veterans. And the men and women that are here now will tell you a little bit about what their service has been to this nation and then how they feel in a moment like this. I'm going to ask Josh Gassion to be the lead speaker, followed by Steve, Bill, Asha, and Kevin, and each of them in turn. And if there are any other veterans who feel motivated to join and share their thoughts, we value their service. And we appreciate what they represent in terms of American ideals backed up by real risk and sacrifice.
Thank you, Congressman. Thank you for this opportunity. I served as a paratrooper in the 82nd Airborne Division with deployments to both Afghanistan and Iraq. And when I came home, you know, I worried about a lot of things. I worried about what I was going to do. Was I going to go to college? Was I going to get a job? One of the things that I didn't think I had to worry about was if my back hurt, if my knees hurt, if I had combat stress, you know, where would I be able to go to get health care? Where would I be able to go to get treatment? What kind of programs are available to me? It's just not something I thought that I would have to worry about. And when this administration, presidential administration, came into power, we all had fears. You know, we knew we'd have to worry about education. We'd have to worry about healthcare. We'd have to worry about a lack of human decency. But again, one of the things that we did not think we'd have to worry about was how our veterans were going to be treated. It's almost 50 years to the day that our Vietnam veterans, our brothers and sisters, came home. And Vietnam Veterans of America has a quote that says, never again shall one generation of veterans, leave behind another generation of veterans. And that is exactly what we're experiencing today. It's the fear and the calls that we're getting at the Veteran Service Agency. It's the word, when I talk to my brothers and sisters over here, it's the fear that we're hearing there. Is Montrose going to be open? Is Cap Point going to be open? Is the community-based outpatient clinic here in White Plains going to be open? What's going to happen? These are fears for folks who served our country that we should not have to experience. So at the county, we will not abandon our veterans. At the state, we will not abandon our veterans. We're all going to be here for each other and for everybody out there. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Stephen Clone. I'm a U.S. Marine combat veteran. I served from 1980 to 1984. 1983, I was sent to Beirut, Lebanon, on what was called a peacekeeping mission. But we was at war, right? And in October of 1983, they drove two truck bombs in our headquarters building. And over 240 Marines were killed. I was there and I was very affected from it. My last 5 months in the Marines, I was suffering what I know now as PTSD and survivor's remorse. But due to feeling that way, I gave up all hope. And my last 5 years in the service, and I was given an other than honorable discharge for that, right? And for 40 years, I fought to get my discharge upgraded because I wasn't even allowed to go see a psychiatrist in the VA due to my discharge. Last May, 2 days prior to my 40th anniversary of being discharged, by the grace of God, I was given my honorable discharge that I should have got 1984. Now, I'm able to go to the VA for services. I still have psychological problems. I'm not as bad now, I'm learning how to deal with it. But now, I have health issues also. I lost my thyroid due to the bad water in Camp Lejeune. It was so toxic they had to remove it. And now you want to tell me that you want to cut benefits. I served my country. When they told us we was going to war, I didn't do like a lot of people and run, go to Canada, hide out where they couldn't be found. I got my gear, got on that bus, and got on that ship and went over there and watched all the people. I helped dig out bodies, and it affects me to this day. And you have people that don't know nothing about the military. We have a man that's not even an American citizen, never been voted into any office, and he's in charge of cutting budgets to the VA. I hear a lot of politicians say, oh, we're going to do this, we're going to do that. Memorial Day, Veterans Day, thank you for your service. What about the other 363 days? I'm from Brooklyn, yet I came all the way up here to support Congressman Latimer, and I want to thank you again. Because I did a tour with him in the VA. He's not just talking the talk, he's doing the work. And it took me an hour change to drive up here just to support him. We need more officials. I'm not saying none of you are not doing nothing. I have no knowledge because I'm from Brooklyn, but I'm supporting a congressman in the Bronx. And again, I want to thank you. Thank you for your time.
Good morning. My name is Bill Goodenough. When I was in high school, I watched on television, I watched the POWs coming home from Vietnam. I watched John McCain come off the airplane in crutches. When I was 17 years old, I enlisted in the United States Coast Guard. I served 5 years active duty. I made a deal. The deal was I would serve my country. I would lay down my life for my country. I would put myself in danger. I could have done other things, but I joined the Coast Guard. I served 5 years and 5 years active duty. There was a deal. There was an agreement. I would serve. I would do these things as a young man. And I would get back in return health care, education, other things. The deal still stands. Don't break the trust.
Yes. Hi. Good morning. Good afternoon. My name is Asha Casper Hernandez. I'm from the Westchester County area. After 9/11, I was inspired to join the Army, and I was commissioned as a second lieutenant, deployed to places like Iraq, Jordan, and Kuwait, exposed to toxins. So I'm a PAC Act recipient. My deployment was 36 months. I sacrificed my life for 36 months for this country. Coming back home, many of us have to, we struggle with integrating back into society, whether it's dealing with a home, a new job, integrating with your family, dealing with suicidal rate, suicide due to the fact that suicide rate is high in our community. These are really, really big challenges that we deal with. So the last thing we have to deal with right now is erode our services. That does not help America. That's a disservice. We have a contract with America, and in exchange, we should be provided these services. So my one last thing that's important to note here is that we are in a new America in terms of normalizing and attacking veterans. And that's what scares me. This was not normal. Now it's normalized. And we must fight this. And I want to thank Congressman Lau for this wonderful opportunity, and the rest of y'all that are supporting our community. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for the opportunity to speak. I'm Congressman Latimer's constituent down in the Bronx. I'm a United States Navy combat veteran. I fought in the first Gulf War, and my ship caught on fire. And like Steve Colon, I suffered too from a lot of post-traumatic stress disorder because my rate was a shipboard firefighter or damage controlman. They known as a DC. And that was like 30 years ago, and even till today, I have these dreams where I'm back in that ship, back in that space, fighting that fire, and it's so vivid that even in my dreams, I can smell the smoke. And so I have severe PTSD. Took me a while to get acclimated to the VA. Once I did, they began treating me, and to cut from us, this whole we're going to take away veteran benefits and we're going to cut veteran benefits. But it's an oxymoron. How do you cut benefits and then say America first? So how does this action put us first, and how does it benefit us? It would be an atrocity if we don't fight back. I'm not only looking forward to standing with our congressmen and the rest of the state, but I'm also looking to galvanize other veterans to fight the fight with them. And with that, I yield. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Angelo Santiago. I'm a Marine Corps veteran. First, I want to thank my brothers and sisters here, and I want you to look at the colors of the rainbow here, of how we represent this country. Not just white, black, Latino, we're all here standing strong as one. My father was a Boricuaneer. He served in one of the last segregated units of the United States Army, and he was rewarded a Congressional Gold Medal by President Obama. I wrote this letter that I've been writing like crazy to all my representatives. I wasn't going to speak at first, but I had this on my phone and I thought it was appropriate. I'm a Marine Corps disabled veteran. I live 4 miles from the Montrose VA, which is in Congressman Lawler's and Senator Schumer's district. I'm sure there's a VA senator in Gillibrand's district and Congressman Jeffries' district. I can't believe you'll be sitting on your hands as they fire 80,000 VA workers. People that own homes in your districts, pay taxes in your districts, add to the economy of your districts. People that probably voted for you. Civilians and former veterans that came to work at the VA to earn a living at a job that offered security while employed and retired. But most importantly, they wanted to care for veterans and to continue to serve their country. Men and women, whether they were drafted or volunteered, knew they might be called to make the ultimate sacrifice. Now we are taking away people that served them. When are we going to say stop? The VA had built itself up to a high level of respectability. They do not only care for veterans, they serve to teach new doctors how to care for veterans. They teach them how to perform surgery on veterans, and they teach them how to help the veterans repair their psyche and help them cope with PTSD and substance abuse. They help homeless veterans get housing and how to transition back into the community. They teach the veteran about whole health and how healthy is more than their mental and physical being, but moving the body, surroundings, personal development, food and drink, recharge, family, friends, and co-workers, spirit and soul, and the power of the mind. I know this because I participate in the whole health program. I participate in mental health groups, and I participate in wellness and nutrition. These programs I participate in are taught to me at the VA by staff and former vets that are now also employed at the VA. So we were going to fire 80,000 VA staff that care and educate veterans to care for themselves. I implore you, senators and congressmen, to please take a stand. Veterans, our families, and our communities deserve better, and the ripple effect that this will cause will set veteran care back to the dark ages as depicted in the movie Born on the 4th of July. Our VA staff primary mission is to care for veterans whose primary mission was to protect our country and our democracy without question. You have been given your marching orders. Are you going to protect us and fight the tyranny that is developing and devastating our country? Respectfully, Angelo E. Santiago, United States Marine Corps.
We have another veteran who wants to be heard. Anyone else wishes to be heard? I want to thank each of these individuals for sharing their thoughts, and I think you see the humanity that's coming through, not just a governmental issue, but the human side of what it is to serve this country and now to face the potential of reductions in the services that they receive in response. I want to now ask Vedat Ghashi and members of the Westchester County Board of Legislators to join us. Oh, we have, I'm sorry, 1 second. We have State Senator and the head of the New York State Senate, Andrea Stewart-Cousins. She is in the middle of negotiations on a budget, and if she could be here today is a wonderful sacrifice of time. Madam Senator.
Thank you so much, Mr. Congressman, and I'm so happy to join all of my colleagues. Certainly, I know you've heard from the senators and the assembly people, and I know you'll hear from the county folks, and it's good to see the local representatives too, Mayor. But what's most important is obviously what we heard from our veterans and why what you are doing, Congressman, is so important. We need to make sure that the message is clear, that we have a duty to serve those who saw it as their duty to serve us. It is very clear that erasing history is easy, and once you erase it, you're able to pretend it didn't matter. When these great service people come forward and tell you about their parents in the war, themselves in the war, the service that they did, it matters. My dad was a World War II veteran. He too in the segregated army. When he came back, America didn't treat him the way it should. My brother, a Vietnam veteran, Marine, came back, and we know that the Vietnam War veterans were not treated in the way they should have been treated when they came back. And what happened is we evolved as a nation, and we understood that we had to stop treating people who are serving us in ways that disrespect that service. That's what we said, and we've evolved, and every level of government has evolved. On the state, we've evolved, whether it's giving tax credits or education and services. Everyone has evolved because we understand the value and the sacrifice. Until now. Now, all of a sudden, none of this matters. Now, we are dealing with the highest levels of office that believe service, people who serve could be suckers and losers. That's what we're dealing with. And so it's easy to say they don't need this. Cut 83,000 that. Many of whom are actually veterans. We have to stand up. And we have to make sure that each and every one of our members, no matter where they are in the political spectrum, stands up for our veterans. This is our history. This is our mandate. So again, thank you so much, Congressman, and all of my colleagues. We will continue to rally, to fight, and thank you so much again for your service 365 days of every year. Thank you.
I want to make sure that some of our other elected officials have a chance to share their thoughts, and particularly because the work that we have to do for veterans involves what we do at the federal government and what we do at the state, county, and local government. All of this integrates together, and it's important to show that that integration is here regardless of level of government responsibility. So I asked Vidat Ghashi and his colleagues who are here with us on the Board of Legislators, County Board of Legislators, to come.
Morning, everybody. I'm here joined with my colleagues Catherine Parker and Ben Boykin. I am Vidat Ghashi, Chairman of the Board of Legislators. This is a disappointing one. This is a frustrating, infuriating one. Time and again, we're seeing the same pattern. The cuts that are being proposed and pushed are cuts that are going to hurt the most vulnerable in our community. It was mentioned, and the thing I'm fond of saying is, stop telling me that you love me, show me that you love me. It's one thing to say that you honor the flag, but what are you doing to show that? Here in the county, we've worked hard to show that we honor and respect the service and the sacrifice of the brave men and women who put so much on the line for our country. Be it tax benefits, free access to parks, and so many other education and employment opportunities, ways that we can actually help the community. It's infuriating to see, again, the people that would need help, the VA, people that would go to the VA to seek that help that's so vital. So to see that attacked and cut, it really, I think, undermines what we believe a government should stand for. I thank Congressman Latimer for bringing us together. I thank Congressman Latimer for his advocacy. What you're seeing here is state, local, or county officials coming together and saying we stand firmly against these cuts and hope that we can avoid it. Thank you again, and thank you for the opportunity.
I think all of us here, we've heard such heartbreaking situations. And as elected officials, we know that we want to be here and help and make sure that you get everything that you deserve for the service that you have given to our country. What we use as elected officials could also be called empathy. And recently, you may have heard Elon Musk saying that empathy is the weakness of Western civilization. And he and Doge are showing they have no empathy. They are taking no time to understand what they are doing. They don't care. We are showing we absolutely do care. And we are here for you, and we are going to stand up and fight. And again, I just want to say thank you to Congressman Latimer for amplifying this message, and we will be strong together. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. I'm County Legislator Ben Boykin. You're in my legislative district. And first of all, I want to say to the veterans, thank you for your service. Because of your service, we are free and we are here today. To Congressman Latimer, thank you for bringing this issue to the forefront. Because if you're not careful, it gets swept under the rug. It happens and you really don't hear about it and don't know about it until it's over. But we cannot let that happen. These veterans have served us. And now it is important that we at the county, at the federal, and at the local level serve them, because that is so important. All of us know service people. I grew up 40 miles from Fort Bragg, okay, in eastern North Carolina. I knew a lot of the service people there. The house next to my mother-in-law and father-in-law was a young man, I won't call his name, that he came back from Vietnam. He was a gunner on a helicopter. He was exposed to Agent Orange. Of course, all of you know about that and how powerful and how that affected your body over time. And he would come and tell me how sick he was. And he was glad to be able to have the ability to go and get service as a veteran. We cannot and we will not take these services away. It is so important that we stand up and say enough is enough. Do not cut services to our veterans. Thank you very much.
As I get ready to call up our friends here at White Plains, and I see, by the way, a lot of people from the White Plains community that are here. We appreciate your turnout. My friend Evelyn Santiago is here. I saw Nick Wolf, Steve Epstein, many people who care about the community and took time away to sit here and to be part of this. But as I get ready to introduce our last set of speakers, I want you to remember what you've just heard. You heard Kevin talking about it. Imagine yourself in a ship that's been hit and is now on fire. And your job, in the middle of the chaos and the smoke and the potential of sinking that the ship faces, that you have to go to put the fire out. Imagine that you're a paratrooper and you're in a helicopter somewhere in the skies over Afghanistan, Kabul, Kandahar, wherever, and you have to jump out to go down to what you don't know is on the ground to back up the forces of freedom to try to push back those people who organized the attack on us. That's what you heard happen today. What you heard is a gentleman say that he was a Marine in Beirut when the barracks were bombed and 240 of his brothers, not just fellow workers, brothers died right there with him. And you hear a young lady who says, instead of all of the joys of being a young woman, I'm going to serve my nation for 36 months. 3 years out of your life. 3 of them best, we were all 19 and 20 and what that's like. And they were given up for the country. Or on ship as a Coast Guard person in the middle of roaring waves, where you'd be lucky to hold on to your situation to the best of your ability. And serving your country for 5 years of that, through storms that could have sunk the boat that you were in. That's what you heard. That's what we're fighting for. I invite the mayor of White Plains, Tom Roach, and 2 members of his council who are here, Justin Brash, Jeremiah Fry Pearson. Thank you for hosting this evening tonight.
Well, George, thank you for doing this. And when George became a member of Congress, I was used to seeing him every day. I thought, well, now I'm not going to see him every day, but I basically see him every day. It feels like he's still George, and he's still serving his community so well, and on very important issues such as this one. When I was a young boy, 8 or 9, I had 2 of my brothers. We loved running around in White Plains because we had young uncles and we had young cousins, all young men. They had access to cars. They took us places that our parents wouldn't let us go, and we had a great time. And they all got drafted. But none of those families had the money to send a kid to college. So the way it worked then, that's who went. And they went to different places in the world. And I remember taking one of my uncles, being in the car when we drove one of my uncles down to Fort Dix to go in. But one of my uncles went to Vietnam, and he was an MP. So I remember my mother was kind of happy about that because these were her little brothers, and I didn't know at the time. She was really worried. I just thought they were Army men, and I was proud of them. But an MP in Saigon, and then the Tet Offensive, and it just is a reminder, no matter what branch of the military you are in, no matter what your position, peace, time, wartime, whatever it is, your life is at risk in service of your country. And when he got back, and that was fighting in the streets, door-to-door fighting, when he got back from Vietnam, he brought each of us a helmet liner. He thought of us amongst all that, and gave me and my brother each a helmet liner. We were the kings of the neighborhood. But as adults, he told us that the military told him was, stay in your room for a few days. Don't go to any parties right away. You gotta ease back into it. That was the extent of it. We've come so far. We've come so far. When we talk about the different branches of government, everything winds up at the local level. When we are dealing with unhoused people, one of the first questions our crisis teams, because we have 2 crisis teams that are out working with people, is, are you a veteran? Because there is a campaign to end homelessness amongst veterans, and it's been very successful. But the reason that question is asked is because the services now available are, as they stand today, wonderful. They make a huge difference and change people's lives and save people's lives. To even threaten that is outrageous. My dad, going back even further, was a nose gunner and a sub chaser in the Navy, land-based aviation. So even though he's a Democrat, he loved John McCain, okay? But he enlisted when he was 17. His mother had to sign him in. He was living over Burke and McGowan, as I understand it, here in White Plains when he went in. And he served his country with honor. And he's now in retirement, and he loves to go to the VA. That's where he wants his medical care. He feels comfortable around the other veterans. He feels that the people there know how to treat him. And so right now he's facing a very big health challenge. And first thing he does when he gets told in the hospital what he's dealing with is he calls the VA. So I can tell you, as much as he loves it, it's not always easy. But if you start cutting people, start cutting funds, it will become impossible. And I agree with what everyone said, and I thank you all for your service. This was a deal. People gave up their lives. They put their lives on the line, and in return, we're supposed to care for them. We can't take a step backwards. We have to keep moving forward in our obligation to our veterans, and this has to stop now.
I am White Plains Councilman Justin Brash. My father, grandfather, and great-grandfather all served. One of my closest friends growing up served in the U.S. Navy, and of course received veterans benefits and services from the Veterans Administration. The idea that we're going to cut services is unthinkable and disgusting. And we have to, of course, thank Congressman Latimer for bringing us all together to raise this issue. But I have another side to point out about the current administration, and quite frankly, what a bunch of hypocrites they are. Has anybody ever talked about what this is going to do to the morale of our soldiers currently? We have millions of young men and women serving our country, and we make a deal with them. You sacrifice to defend our democracy, to defend our country, to defend our allies and our values. You risk your life for us. And now we're going to tell them that when you get out, we don't care. We're not going to give you benefits. We're going to fire everybody working at the Veterans Administration so that when you need help, psychological, medical, economic, job training, education, it's unlimited what we do and should be doing for our veterans. It's shameful and disgusting, and it's completely hypocritical of this administration that talks about America and having a strong military and helping our country. I can't think of a way to weaken our country and our defense of democracy and our deterrence by telling our men and women in uniform that we're not going to give them the services they deserve. I want to thank everybody here for their service. We are grateful. We are free in our country and able to be here and gather freely because of you. So thank you. Thank you, everybody. I will turn it over to my distinguished colleague, Jeremiah Fry Pearson.
Thank you, Justin. Thank you, Congressman Latimer, and all the leaders in government for standing up on this moral issue. And most importantly, thank you to all of you for sacrificing, for putting your lives at risk in defense of our right to be here. As so many speakers have said this, so I'm going to be really brief, but our government makes a pact with these men and women that if they risk their lives and give up the prime of their life, we're going to take care of them when they come home. My mom was a nurse in the VA hospital in the 80s, and there were a lot of Vietnam vets who were profoundly harmed. And I know that her and her colleagues did everything they could to help people recover from traumas that we've not experienced, but they did for us. It is completely unacceptable what the Trump administration is doing. It is wrong, and I'm proud to stand up against it with all of my colleagues. And once again, most importantly, every single day, thank you. Thank you very much to all of our speakers. Before I make closing comments, let me thank the members of my team that put so much effort into this. Libby Carlson, Ellen Hendricks, Alexandra Thoreau, Tara Conte, Tremaine O'Garrow. We have some young folks who've joined us as interns. We have Trevor Velez, who's almost leaving us as an intern. All of them have contributed greatly to making sure we could make this presentation. I appreciate it personally to all of you. A couple of months ago, we had heard that the Social Security Administration was going to be closing the hearing office that's located a little further down the street from the VA clinic, 77 South Broadway. And as we talked about what could we do about it, and we had a bipartisan effort to try to push back on it, I turned to my friend, the county executive, Ken Jenkins, and I said, Ken, do you have any thoughts on this? And we've worked together in the past cooperatively, and he's able to come back and say, George, I think we've identified space that's within the control of the county government that we could provide to the Social Security Administration as an alternate location to keep the hearing office here in White Plains. I couldn't have been more appreciative of Ken's leadership and the members of the county government. So we responded to Leland Dudick, who is the head of the Social Security Administration. And what we got back sounded a lot like that, crickets. We got back a letter just this past week that says, thank you for your offer, but we intend to close the office in White Plains. It's going to close. Now, if you go to Social Security to have a hearing, you're pleading some debate over benefits that you believe you're justified in debating. Well, you hear that all the time from the people you work with every day. They're going to fight for their benefits, and the same happens in our office, our caseworkers. If you have gone to that office from a community like, say, New Rochelle or Larchmont or Mamaroneck, you now have to go to the hearing office in New Haven, Connecticut. That is what the Social Security Administration, current leadership, thinks is acceptable. Or you could go online or go on the phone. How many of you have been on the phone with a government agency and taken a half an afternoon and you get disconnected, or they say you have to call back tomorrow during business hours? So it's really no service at all. That's the Social Security Administration. So now we face cuts in the Veterans Administration. And what are we to think? What are we to think? They may say, no, we're not going to cut the White Plains. We have no announcement to cut the White Plains VA clinic. We have no announcement, what we just saw Kevin and Steve down in the Bronx, to reduce services in the Bronx VA or in Montrose, which my friends in the county government are well familiar with Dakashi and his neighbor, the state. But we haven't seen the specific details that have come out. We do know that there's an intent to eliminate the Veterans Affairs Services Purchase Program, and that involves helping those veterans that are dealing with a potential foreclosure and have been given loans to hold on to their house. You're talking about veterans who may lose their home. This service helps them, and you're eliminating that. And we talk about homeless veterans. What do we think is going to happen out of that result? Let me offer, as we close this, a positive statement. I've served with my friends in the county legislature, in the state assembly, and the state senate. And there were times in every one of those bodies where we did bipartisan, across the aisle agreement to do things. That is what Senator Stuart Cousins is working on right now between the Assembly and the Senate, to find those areas where there can be bipartisan agreement. And we've certainly had that in the county government. And you have it on the city council where you've had that happen in the past. So let me offer to my friends, my new friends, and they're 4 months, to my new friends in the House of Representatives. We have voted on party lines so many times. This is the issue to draw the line in the sand. This is the issue to be bipartisan. This is the issue where Republicans who go home to Tupelo, Mississippi, go home to Cincinnati, Ohio, go home to Colorado Springs, Colorado, go home to La Jolla, California, go home to Spokane, Washington, go home to the Upper Peninsula of Michigan, and to the Panhandle of Florida to agree with what we're saying here in the streets of New York. We can have a bipartisan letter signed by all of us, Republicans and Democrats, to this administration. We do not accept cuts to the Veterans Administration. We don't accept whatever you cut is automatically, we're going to rubber stamp it. We're going to analyze, and if there is a way to save money, apropos to what was proposed for the Social Security office, we're open to those things. But we're not open to cutting 80,000 plus employees. That does not make sense. That means less services for these individuals. And then somewhere under the cover of darkness, where you have less people, then the programs fall aside. And then the veterans are unserved. And then some night, some veteran commits suicide. It will happen. Because they couldn't get the services when they needed, and in a moment of personal despair, they will take their own lives. Why? Because the right services weren't there at the right time. Because we cut it because 19-year-old Doge employees knew better what should happen for the future of America. 19-year-old employees of Doge that did not go to the recruiting office and say, yes, I'll serve 3 years or 5 years in the military. I'm going to go down and we're going to have some fun. This is going to be like a computer game where we're going to go and we're going to shoot these computer images, and we're going to have the Social Security and the Veterans Administration fall, and the Department of Education. Oh, let's turn around here and let's shoot down the Department of Labor. Isn't this fun? These are lives, human being lives. And they're not just Bronx and Westchester lives. They're lives in Colorado Springs. They're lives in the Panhandle of Florida. They're lives in Spokane, Washington. They're lives in the Upper Peninsula of Michigan. I may not know those people, but they made the same sacrifice that these people made. So I offer, let us have a bipartisan response to this administration. Doesn't have to be pointed in language. It just has to be, we, the members of the House of Representatives, Mr. President, do not agree with these cuts. You should restore these cuts and then present to us a plan for how you intend to administer the Veterans Administration going forward, maintaining the services that we have, and then showing us what kind of economies could be achieved. That is the intelligent, professional way. And I may add, that's what Ken Jenkins, Vidat Gashi, and these folks are doing in the county government. That's what Tom Roach is doing with his colleagues in the city of White Plains. That's what we're striving for in the state of New York. Let us strive for that in the federal government. Let us go home and remember, somebody jumped out of a helicopter. Somebody was on a Coast Guard boat in choppy waters. Somebody was in Beirut Somebody was on a shipboard fire. Somebody suffered so that we could walk around on this beautiful day and enjoy our freedom. I'm George Latimer, Congressman. Thank you, and have a wonderful day.